Hey, what's going on, everyone? So, we're back talking some baseball. We're going to look over the World Series. I know a lot of Blue Jays fans, this can be painful for you. A lot of people are telling me to move on. I'm doing this basically as if I were a manager or a coach. I'm going back and reviewing the game, which everybody does, to figure out, okay, where could we have played things a little bit differently, and where do we play things where we like the way we played them? And it's just bad luck. It's just baseball. And the play that I've been asked to review is the final play of the game when Kirk hit into the double play to Mookie to end the World Series and lose. So let's break down that situation, because a lot of people have said, should Barger have stole? Should the Blue Jays have ran the runner at first to stay out of the double play? And so I'm going to break down the thoughts of a manager. Again, I don't know what the Dodgers were thinking, but I'm going to explain kind of the way I would think through that situation if I were the manager. So first, let's break down the situation. We're in the bottom of the 11th inning. It's 5-4. Dodgers. There's one out. We have runners at first and third. We've got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at third. We've got Barger at first, and we've got Alejandro Kirk at bat, and he's not very fast. One of the slowest guys in the league, so you know that if a ball's hit on the ground, it's probably going to be a double play, and the World Series will be over. Okay, so to start things off, as a manager, you're going to decide on defense. Let's start off with the Dodgers. You're going to decide if they steal here. So anytime there's first and third, if they steal, are we going to throw through and try to get that runner out stealing? Or are we going to hold the ball or maybe pump fake and look to third? There's a bunch of different plays you can run. But essentially, are we going to throw the ball through and get him out, or are we not? Are we going to just let him take the bag? Now, how do we make that decision? Well, first, we look at the speed of all the runners and their ability to steal bases. So let's start with Barger at first base. I looked it up. He's 56 percentile sprint speed. So he's just an okay, kind of like an average runner at first base. If you look at his stolen bases over the last 2 years, which is how much he's been in the big leagues, this year he had 4 stolen bases. He tried to steal 5 times. He got thrown out once. So 4 successes, 1 failure. Last year he stole 2 bases, no failures. So he has only 6 stolen bases in basically 2 years of baseball. So he is not a base stealing threat. And I went back and watched all of his stolen bases, and typically he runs in situations where the pitcher is very slow to the plate. Almost every pitcher that I watched when he made a steal attempt was like a 1.5 to the plate. So that's 1.5 seconds. So if you ever see a coach at first base or a coach anywhere with a stopwatch, that's what they're timing. They're timing the point in which the pitcher lifts his front foot. That's when the clock starts, and then the clock stops when the ball hits the catcher's mitt. So a 1.5 would be somebody that we can run on. Usually the number's kind of around 1.3. If it's above that, it's not super quick to the plate. If it's below that, it's pretty quick to the plate. Also depends on the base stealer's time. So what we do is at our first practice, we have all the base runners getting their lead at first base, and we simulate a steal, and we have them steal second base, and we time them, and we figure out exactly how long it takes them to get from their lead to the base. Now in the big leagues, you have all these numbers. You probably don't have to do that. But at the levels that I coach, we don't have the type of technology that's going to give us those numbers, so we just get it manually by using a stopwatch in practice. Now let's go over to Vlad Guerrero at third base. He's in the 36th percentile of sprint speed. So he's a below average runner. I think most of us know that. He's not extremely quick. And so the reason, again, you want to know this is because if you have a guy that's 90th percentile sprint speed at third base, well, there's a much higher chance that if we throw the ball through, he's going to try to score because he can run really fast. If you have a slower guy there and you throw the ball through, he's probably not going to attempt to get home because they can catch and tag, or they can just redirect the throw and throw it home and tag you out the plate. And now, obviously, you've given away an out at home. And then the last thing that you consider is the pitcher's time to the plate. So we talked about the stopwatch. Yamamoto, I went through all of his pitches when Kirk was up. He was around like a 1.3, a 1.35, so basically average, not super quick to the plate, but not slow. And now the last thing you do is you look at the catcher, and what is his pop time to second base? And a pop time is just how quickly, when the ball hits the catcher's glove until the ball hits the second baseman or shortstop's glove, what is that time? Now, Will Smith was a 1.94, which means it took 1.94 seconds for the ball to get to his glove on average to second base. That puts him in the 61st percentile in the league. So slightly above average. But in the big leagues, you can get a whole bunch of stats. And so I looked all this stuff up, and let me tell you what I found. I found that he was in the 87th percentile in caught stealing above average. So even though his pop time isn't great, his accuracy must be very, very good, because not all pop times are created equal. So if two guys throw a 195 to second base, but one guy puts it right on the bag every single time, and one guy's throwing it all over the place, it's going to take more time for the second baseman or shortstop to catch a bad throw and get the ball all the way back to the bag. So the ball might hit his glove at 1.95, but now by the time he gets the ball all the way back here, it's 2 point something. And that's not as good as someone that's going to throw 195 right here, where the middle infielder can catch and tag, and the guy's out. And so if you look at his numbers, I dug a little deeper. He was 25th in the league in arm strength at 83.1 miles per hour to second base. So doesn't have a super strong arm, but his exchange time was 9th in the league, 0.62 seconds. Basically, when the ball hits his glove to the time the ball comes out of his hand, 0.62 seconds, which was 9th in the league. And then it doesn't have accuracy anywhere, which would be cool if they could figure out a way to do that. But I'm assuming that he must be extremely accurate. Again, if he's 87th percentile in caught stealing, but he's 25th in arm strength and 9th in exchange, he has to be like one of the top guys as far as accuracy is concerned in the league. Okay, so we have all of that stuff. There's more stuff that comes into it too. You can think about the batter. Is it somebody that you think could potentially hit into a double play? Is it someone you're confident that you can get out? Is it someone that you're really afraid of, right? That's going to determine if you want to throw guys out or not. Your pitcher's ability comes into it a little bit as well. How confident are you in him? How confident are you in him and his ability to get a ground ball double play or strike a guy out? And then also a ton of game situation stuff. In this situation, the Dodgers are winning 5-4. I would say it's probably different if it was 4-4 instead of 5-4. 5-4, if you decide to throw down and they do happen to come home and you don't get them, you are still just tied. If it was 4-4 and you throw down and they score, well, now you lose the game. So that also changes the equation a little bit. Now that's a ton from the defensive side. Let's go from the offensive side. You're going to pretty much do the same thing. You're going to get the times of all of those things, so I'm not going to go through all that again. So now it comes down to, on offense, do you think you can get the bag? And based on all the numbers that I just talked about, you would assume no. You have a guy at first that doesn't really steal bags very often at all, isn't a very good runner, and then you have a guy at third base that can't run at all. You have a pitcher that's okay, he's decent, and you have a catcher that's 87th percentile throwing guys out. So I think if you're looking at this from the Blue Jays perspective, you're like, okay, we're not really set up here to get the bag. We're not going to take a chance. And do I think they're going to throw through? Because that's the other thing you think of as a manager. You're thinking, okay, is this guy going to throw through if we run, or are they going to give us the bag? And given all the information that I just gave, I personally, if I'm Doc Roberts, I'm throwing the ball through. I have confidence in Will Smith. We've got a pitcher that throws the ball decently quick to the plate. We have a really slow guy at third base, and we have a guy at first that only has 6 stolen bases in 2 years, and he really isn't a great runner. He's an okay runner, but really only steals in situations where the other team is almost just giving him the bag. And in this situation, we're not going to give him a bag. We're going to throw him out. So if I'm the Dodgers, I throw through. If I'm the Blue Jays, I probably don't run, especially early in the count. I'm not going to run. Now, do things change when you get 0-2 and now you've got a better chance of hitting a ground ball double play? I saw a podcast somewhere, I don't know where I saw it, all these videos get recommended to me, where Mookie Betts was talking, and he said that once it got to 0-2, he thought that there was a good chance of a double play. He said before that, he didn't think they were going to get a double play. He said Kirk just squares the ball up too much, hits the ball hard, hits the ball in the air a little bit, I think he mentioned. He also said he wasn't expecting a strikeout because Kirk has such good bat-to-ball skills. And it was funny, Will Smith, they talked to Will Smith in the same interview, and they said, what were you thinking when you got 0-2? Like, what were you trying to do? And Mookie was thinking, get a double play, and Will Smith was thinking, get a strikeout. That's what he was thinking. He was like, we're going for the K right here, not going for the double play. So it's interesting how the catcher was thinking more strikeout, and the infielder was thinking double play ball. So do things change at 0-2 because now there's a higher probability that he maybe hits into a double play, hits a ground ball? Possibly. Also, you could have a strike him out, throw him out, which ends the World Series. So ultimately, I think I'm sticking with my decision to not run him. I know tons of people have said, you got to steal him there, you got to steal him. And I could be wrong. So let me know. I'm just going based off of all the numbers and my feel again for the game. And when I was in the game watching it, I never really thought, okay, they're going to run him here. I know tons of people said that that's what they thought was going to happen. That never really crossed my mind. Then again, I had a bunch of people around and I was talking, so I wasn't completely zoned in. I mean, I was pretty zoned in on the play, but I wasn't really at that time thinking as a manager. I was just kind of having fun and seeing what happened. So anyways, let me know what you would have done. And if you have any additional comments in the comment section below, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, give it a thumbs up, all that good stuff. We'll talk to you later.